There are so many interesting levels and interesting stories to the Sunset Speedway Super Stock season. We haven't even gotten started yet, and there's already a lot of different guys to look at with 41 people on the roster. You got your veterans, you've got your rookies, your sophomores. You also have a really strong group of dudes that just might surprise you. And the man I got on the line right now fits firmly in that category, all the way from Case Center, Ontario. I appreciate the time. Keith Temple, welcome, man. Thank you for taking the time to chat with me here.
No problem. How's it going, Spencer?
We're living the dream, man. We're getting ready for the 2016 season, but from what I've heard, you're getting ready for the season, but it's sort of been at a bit of a standstill lately. You've stalled out a little bit. What's going on in your world? What happened?
Life caught up to me, and we had a little incident in the shop. I lost the war with a drill, and it's really set things back. I can't do anything right now with the right hand, and yeah, it's pretty much put the brakes on everything right now.
Anytime you lose a war with a power tool, I feel like that's just a bad time.
I've lost a war with a few, but this one is really bit hard for some reason, and it doesn't seem to want to go away, so I don't know. We're kind of regrouping right now, trying to come up with a plan B, but as of right now, I'm kind of useless. So
I mean, when you're a one-man band, largely like you are, it's an awesome story when things are working out. But I get that when you got a race car to put together and you only got one good hand, all of a sudden being that one-man band turns into a bit of a pain in the ass. Am I right?
Absolutely. My dad comes here quite a bit, and now mind you, we live an hour and a half apart, so. When he does come here, it's a blessing because I am, like you say, I'm here all the time by myself. So, but right now he's not here enough, and yeah, I can't really do a whole lot. So
it's pushed your debut back. It's pushed your debut back a little bit for the season. So when will we see what I'm sure is a gorgeous looking race car? Because if it looks anything like it did last year, it's going to be a best appearing contender. When do we get to see it for the first time?
We're looking at, realistically, spring velocity. There's just, like, we're close. It's just, but with no hand, it's very daunting, to say the least. So, realistically, spring velocity, I'm pretty sure I'll be able to drive it. Preparing it has been a bit of a challenge, but apparently race cars make all the ills go away when you get into them, so
I've seen you checking in on social media with all these dudes that have very famously driven through broken hands in the past, like Gary McLean and Tim Tolton are a couple guys that I can think of off the top of my head, and they both told you, don't worry about it, you can still wheel it. It only hurts when the race ends. So if that's true, I think you're all right.
I'm hoping so. But like I say, on the car prep standpoint right now, it's definitely challenging. So, but we're still moving forward. My dad still comes up here and works. I have some crew guys that come up here once in a while and they kind of fill the void a little bit. But right now, with so many things to do and one good hand, I need to teach my kids how to weld is what I need to do right now.
That's what you need to do. Just have like a little army of tiny humans that can get out there and do all your fabricating work for you.
Oh, with all my kids, I'd be set. But
now, yeah. Let's talk 2015, man. Let's talk some positive vibes because the broken hand sucks, but you're going to salvage a pretty decent chunk of the season, so that's all good news. I want to talk 2015 because you really everyone knew you had a car and you were putting it together forever. We never knew when we were going to see you, and then all of a sudden you show up at the racetrack, and every week you're getting better, and you got this like up trajectory going, where it was like every Saturday we were seeing a new version of you. Did you surprise yourself at all with how quickly your program was able to kind of get set and start moving in the right direction?
Our biggest problem we had was new car blues right off the bat. Things just kept happening. You get one thing sorted out, then there was something else. And it seemed to continue on for a little while. Then we finally got everything kind of sorted out and were able to start actually focusing on working the car, like driving the car, and then Scott Wiley started helping us, and everything just seemed to click. And yeah, it actually started surprising me that we got faster and faster, and I felt pretty proud of what we accomplished at the end of the season compared to where we started. It was huge in my eyes, so it really gives me a lot of hope for this year.
Yeah, well, I mean, it really was on a complete basis. Like, I don't think you guys took a step backwards at all last season, and that's the kind of year that when you can put that together, that's a major success. And when you're looking at the guys you're racing against that have had, 10 straight seasons of being there every single Saturday, for your team to come out, with their first full season with this car and start moving forward on a weekly basis, that's a huge, huge plus.
It was. And the part actually that really made us feel good about it was the fact that we did absolutely everything on this car ourselves. From scratch, like we built the chassis. Actually, I can't say everything. Billy Howard built us an amazing engine.
That dude makes steam. Oh, my God.
Oh, yes, does he ever. But, yeah, everything else, like right there. The only thing we didn't do was letter it and paint it. We did, like, body work. We made the body, everything, wiring, you name it. Everything was done in-house, and that actually made it feel really good when we started running well with the car, was the fact that we didn't go buy it. We built it. Like, this is our creation. So, yeah, it was really good at the end of the year. It was nice to actually take a few positives out of it and build for next year.
And the body was a one-of-a-kind. Was it Cadillac Eldorado? Is that what it was?
Yes, it is.
it was beautiful. People were talking about it. Like, it sort of took over Facebook a couple of times where people were sharing it and they were really into it. But then I hear that you were thinking about changing things up for this season. So what's going on? Are we not going to get the same Cadillac look? Are you sort of building something different in terms of a body? What's the story?
We were debating it at the beginning of the off season because there was talk about some of the rules that were happening with the steel bodies where it was going to be kind of at a disadvantage. So we were pondering it, but then we really got looking at it, and after all the rules meetings, and we really don't feel like it's that big of a disadvantage. There is some, but I think I can live with it. But the car, it does. It looks, I hate to pat myself on the back, but I can't believe how it turned out.
It's a badass looking ride, and I love this new era of super stock racing where if you got 25 cars on the racetrack, you might have 18 different body styles. It's awesome.
That's kind of what I don't like about where the plastic body deal is going now, because everything's starting to look the same. But
the electric shaver body.
Yes, which is fine. Like some guys that works great for, and like they still look good. But still, to me, in my mind, this is super stock racing, and they've always been steel bodies, kind of, let your imagination run wild, and it seems like more and more of the imagination is going by the wayside. So, but it is what it is. Things evolve, and we just move forward. It'll probably be the last year for it, because I'm pretty sure there'll be some more rule changes next year, and because I think that's what they're heading for, is to have everybody kind of on the same type of body. So that's happened in the past. Limited late model used to be that way, where they had steel bodies and then they were phased out because the fiberglass guys didn't want to race with them, which is fine. But we'll get one more year out of it anyways, and then we'll see what we do for next year. But right now,
well, you mentioned about evolution, and I got to jump in there because I want to get your opinion on that. This class has evolved in a positive way. I mean, let me take you in the hot tub time machine 3 years ago, and we were getting like 18 cars was a really good field, and now it's like you're getting 30 cars every night. There's 41 registered on the roster. I mean, where did this come from? Why all of a sudden is the super stock division just exploding with talent? I mean, what happened here?
I honestly don't understand it, to be honest with you. It's not for the money. Honestly, I don't know. And the thing that's really blowing my mind this year is the amount of cars that are coming out that are brand new.
Yes.
Like last year, there was a ton of cars, and now you hear this guy's building a car, and this guy's building a car, and wow, there's a lot of new good equipment coming out this year. I'm really excited because I think fans are in for a real treat. Because just from what I've heard and seen, it's impressive.
Mark Dilley said it was the best rookie class the super stock division has ever seen, and I'm inclined to agree with him. Absolutely.
The guys that are coming in, like I watched Trayton Lapcevich's video last night. My God, that kid. That was impressive. I watched that video 3 or 4 times because I couldn't believe it. I'm sure Jordan House will be stout. Everyone I've talked to keeps raving about his car, so which is good. The better equipment, the better the racing, right? So Brandon McFerrin, I expect him to be tough. Yeah.
And then you get like Justin Holmes and Stefan Semeraro. Like there's just it feels like these kids are coming from all angles here, and you throw them in there, and we're not taking away any veterans. Like all the established guys are coming back to sort of mix it up with these freshman guys. I think that 2016 is going to be like one of those landmark seasons that we remember for a really long time.
I think so. There's so many things happening, so many new cars, new drivers. Like you say, the rookie crop is solid this year. It's so many storylines, so many things going on. It's I don't know. People might forget about the late models this year. It might be our year to shine. I hope.
I think it's going to be tough on any given night to pick race of the night between the Super Stocks and the late models is going to be super, super close just because there's so much talent. I mean, in the Super Stock division, you can get lost looking at that roster, man. Like I spent like a half an hour going up and down it earlier this week, just not believing how many elite level guys are on there now.
It is really impressive. And you know what? It's making me really itchy to get out there because it is going to be that tough. Like, we welcome the challenge, and a challenge it's definitely going to be this year for sure. You can't discount it. Most of that field, I don't think. It's going to be a really good year. It's a lot of talent, like you say, a lot of good equipment, and I think the racing is going to be phenomenal. So I just got to get this hand healed up so I can get out there and join them.
Now, is there a level of scouting that you can be doing to kind of help your program, like by watching what everyone else is doing to kind of give you a bit of a leg up when you do come out, so that it's almost like you're working on other aspects of your program, even though your hand won't let you physically work on your program, if you know what I mean?
My eyes are always open when I'm at the racetrack, but you know what? You can only get so much by talking to some people, and I've always believed that you focus on your own, make your own better. Scouting, it changes so much night to night. You can have a really good night, no cautions. You can have a wreck fest the next week. It's the only thing you're really going to be able to tell is who the fast guys are, who's hard on equipment, who's not, who you can race with, that sort of thing. But you know what? Most of the guys there have been there a long time, and you pretty much know how they are. So most of it's going to be just watching the rookies and see how they shake out.
Yeah, I think we could have like a different rookie of the race every week to start the season. I honestly, with all these kids sort of starting from the word go, they're all like at the same point where they don't understand the cars quite yet. The power to weight ratio is a lot different from mini stock, where a lot of them are coming from. I mean, it's just going to shake everything up, and it's going to be just this arms race in terms of who can take in the most amount of knowledge, the fastest.
I think the biggest thing's going to be I think almost all these kids are coming out of mini stock now.
Yes.
So now they're coming out of something that, let's face it doesn't have the horsepower and the tire underneath it. So that's going to be their biggest adjustment, how these guys adapt to the heavier car and the more horsepower. And there's no nice guys in this class, so it's a different type of racing for these guys, and it's the guy that adapts the fastest is going to be the guy that goes. But they're all talented in their own right, so I think in my eyes it's hard to pick a clear-cut winner. But after watching Trayton's video yesterday, I don't know. That
kid's a phenom. Like, Jesus, that kid he's so good, and he soaks it up like a sponge. Like he doesn't do a lot of talking. He just sort of sits there and watches and listens, and you only really need to explain something to him once, and then it's like, oh, okay, that's how I do it. No problem, I got this. And he goes out and he makes it work.
Because my daughters went to school with all the Lapsoviches there last year, and we were making a joke about it the other night because I'm going to be racing with Trayton. Last year, I was sitting at the Christmas concert watching him in his class perform on stage, and now I'm going to be rubbing fenders with him. It's really funny, but no, he is, you know what? He is an amazing little kid. He's likable, nice kid, and he can drive, and I think he's going to surprise a lot of people this year.
It's interesting to have the talk with you about learning curves and jumping up from mini stock to super stock, because I got to imagine last year you had your own learning curve to overcome, because you hadn't been in a Thunder car since 2004?
2005.
2005, okay. But, I mean, that was just such a different generation of Thunder car / super. I got to imagine that there weren't that many parallels between the way the race cars are now to the way they were back then. How difficult was that for you to overcome in your first few weeks behind the wheel?
I didn't get a lot of seat time the first few weeks because everything kept breaking on the car, but I noticed it right away. Like the last time I ran, which, it was 2005. They were thunder cars. Like, they were on the old Diamondback tires. You could run it set all season. We didn't have the chassis adjustments. They were a stock car. These things are race cars now. Totally different. And it was a bit of an adjustment. But I liked it because the car handled, it was fast, more power, everything. It was just better about it. But, my biggest focus was learning the car and debugging it. And we were really focusing on handling last year. So I didn't really get to run as much as I wanted to last year. I would have loved to have played more in the off season, but we had a few things happen at Velocity that kind of put an end to the season there. So, because it was just starting to get good. So, but no, this year we've ironed out a lot of bugs. Actually, me and my dad were talking about it. We made a list last year throughout the whole season, and we addressed every little one on the list. So, hopes are high this year. Really confident in the car. Excited to race with these new rookies. I think it's going to be a great year.
Now, how transferable is that momentum? Because it felt like, you guys were firing on all cylinders last September, and everything was working out right, and you were understanding the car, and the team was working together, and just everything was rolling for you. So to have to obviously sit out for the off season, because we had cold weather and snow, we can't race, and then you got to sit out a big chunk of the spring as well. Is it going to be hard for you to kind of get that bus rolling again and get that momentum moving and sort of put you back where you were in September 2015?
You know what? We plan on testing before we go race with the car, so I'm hoping to get everything kind of situated at the test where we can actually focus on racing when we get to the racetrack. So I have a lot of confidence in the car. The car, so many improvements done to it this year. We've done all the upgrades to it. I don't believe we've done anything that's going to put the car back. So we just have to wait and see how it shakes out and see where we fall into things when we get there. So, but no, we're excited. I just wish this hand would heal up.
I mean, when I look at all the guys that are moving up or moving on, and the Super Stock guys that are not going to be in the division this year, I mean, obviously Lane Zardo and Caden Lapswich are the first two that come to mind. Those are a lot of feature wins between those two drivers that are not going to be there anymore. And I feel like that just creates this big power vacuum, where it's just, now it's like the Wild West. It's anybody's game. Anybody can unload and be fast and win because there's not going to be that dominant force in the division. With that, I see a lot of opportunity. Do you look at the division the same way, where you're like, okay, here we go, like it's mine for the taking. If I put the work in, I can really come out and make a name for myself?
Not so much, and that's the thing. Our class is so heavily stacked with talent and good equipment. Like anybody that's writing off Mike Bentley right now, or Matt Bentley, is crazy.
That dude's so good. Yeah,
I fully expect him to go. He's my pick already. Like, that's he had such a phenomenal season last year, and even in the off season, he was great and good car, good driver. Like and then there's other guys like Semple and Frank Davies coming back. Like and Herb. That's I don't think there's any give-me's in this class. I think if you want to win, you're gonna have to work. And even if you do work, there's still no guarantees. So luck of the draw, I think, more than a lot of it, and who does the best homework.
Oh, it's the get up early in the morning division. I mean, if you're not doing your homework, if you're not putting in the hours or the time, I mean, I feel like you can get left behind. You can turn into an afterthought really, really, really quickly on this roster. Yeah,
the days of leaving your car all week and not working on it, they're over. Like, you have to work on these things and stay on top of it because the class is evolving. The guys are working on their stuff. I mean, everybody's working on their cars. And I have all these guys on my Facebook, and you see them, they post pictures of what they've been doing, and guys are working. So
yeah.
It's there's going to be no gimmies in this class.
It's all about keeping up with the Joneses, man. You got to put the same amount of work in as the guy next to you, right?
Absolutely. So we'll see how it goes, but yeah, I'm really excited for this year. Everything that I keep reading and seeing, I'm gonna go check out the test tomorrow because I'm itching to get to the racetrack. So it's going to be a really interesting year for this class. This is the busiest class I've ever seen. Can you edit that?
It's an exciting time, man. It feels like this division is peaking right now, and it's on the upswing, and it's an exciting time to be around it and be a part of it. I can hear it in your voice how ready you are to go, and that sort of that enthusiasm is contagious. I love it. I think it's great. Go ahead and thank the sponsors that are going to help you get to the racetrack, because I know that, I mean, with these cars, there's more adjustments, and they go faster now, which means they cost more to fix and they cost more to put together. So it's all about the people that are helping you out. Throw them a little bit of love.
First off, I have to thank my wife. Without her, I could not do this. And my kids, Daryl from Top Shops, Burton Exteriors, Bill Stoner from In-Town Tire helps me out tremendously. My mom, my dad, my sister, my crew, and Wiley Performance Racing. I don't know what I'd do without that guy. He is phenomenal.
He's a genius, dude. I love talking to him because he just kicks knowledge at you every single time you talk to him.
Yeah, and you know what? I think I drive him nuts because I text him probably 100 times a week, and I always have a question about this and that, but he doesn't get annoyed. He's always got an answer. I don't have to go digging for it. It's right there, and he knows. So I'm really excited to see what we come up with, because we're trying a few things, and I'm pretty confident it's going to work. So we'll see what happens, though. There's no guarantees in racing, right? So,
Keith, you're a pleasure to talk to, dude. 20 minutes flew by like crazy. Let's do this a lot more this year.
Sounds good.
All right, buddy. Well, I'll see you around the racetrack. I'm looking forward to Spring Velocity to seeing the old number 14 car get back on the racetrack and see what you have for us here in 2016.
Thank you very much for your time, Spencer. I appreciate it.
There you have it, folks. St. Onge Recreation Super Stock Division, NASCAR Super Stock Division, 41 drivers strong, and you're a fool if you're counting out Keith Temple. He's going to surprise some people this year. Watch for him at the Spring Velocity and every other Saturday moving towards the end of the season. Keith, thank you so much, brother. Best of luck in 2016.
Thank you very much.